Before we get into today's episode, we want to take a moment to acknowledge that we will be discussing some heavy topics, including trauma, abuse, addiction, and recovery. These are deeply personal and sometimes painful subjects, and we know that everyone's journey with healing looks different. If you're not in a place where you feel ready to engage with these topics, please take care of yourself in whatever way you need, whether that means pausing the episode, skipping certain parts, or coming back to it when you feel ready.
We want to approach this conversation with care and focus on healing and growth and the ways that Jiu Jitsu has helped us and so many others process and reclaim strength after difficult experiences. If you or someone you know is struggling, there are resources and communities out there that can offer support. You are not alone. Thank you for being here with us and open to these conversations. Let's get into it.
Welcome to Chokeholds Chill. Today we have an awesome episode to share with you guys. We sit down with our friend Elise, who's been training with us for a little over a year now. She's a dedicated mother, a fierce white belt, and really just an all-around badass. She's been training alongside her young daughter, and she also has an amazing fiance that we are also lucky to train with. So in this episode, she opens up about her journey into Jiu Jitsu, how it's impacted her life as a mom. She also shares her experiences with her past and how stepping onto the mats has helped her reclaim her strength and confidence. It's a really raw conversation. It's inspiring, it's powerful, and it's a really good reminder of everything that Jiu Jitsu can really bring out in all of us and the strength and resilience we all have. So here is our conversation with Elise. Enjoy.
Welcome, Elise, to Chokeholds Chill. We have been really excited to try to get you on. So today we're going to chit chat with you a little bit about jiu-jitsu and life and being a mom and how we met you. All those fun things.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited to talk to you because I feel like every time we get a new girl in the gym, I'm like, they're really cool, but I don't want to get attached because are they going to stay? And
leave.
Yeah, and Elise, you haven't let me down.
Yes,
and I really appreciate that a lot.
I know. I feel the same way when we get new girls in the gym. It's like they're here for a little bit, get so excited, and then they phase out.
Right. Yeah. So we're really glad that you've stuck around, and we're really excited to learn more about you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, you're stuck with me now. So.
That's right.
So yeah, we all met in jiu-jitsu, which is kind of shocking because I feel like we have some mutual acquaintances through life, and I've never heard of you or seen you or anything. So it's interesting when we should have crossed paths at some point before, but we didn't until the gym. So that's been pretty cool.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Small town, but somehow.
So should we get into our roll call?
Let's do a roll call. Yeah.
All right. So, I'm here, Mallory.
I'm here, Elise.
And Jenn is here.
All right. So let's talk about what's been going on with our weeks. So let's see. We got back from Costa Rica last weekend, and so I'm back to work. Boo. But I'm also back to coaching jiu-jitsu, and I really, really missed it. So it's I know I only took a week off, but I really miss when I don't have my classes. So even though it sucks getting up really early, it's really good to be back with my people. So
They're happy to have you back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope so. So what's up with you, Jenn?
Oh, God. All right. So
Same.
in Costa Rica, 15 minutes into the first day, first class, whatever.
It was our first positional round.
I hurted myself. I was shrimping out from bottom side with Mallory.
It wasn't my fault.
It wasn't her fault. I was shrimping out from bottom side in a positional, our first round, and I sprained my MCL and kind of dislocated my tibia a little bit. So that's back in place now. My knee bends. I can go up and down the stairs, and I know I will be back to drilling on Monday, but rolling probably another week or two, which is
Is that on your strong side or?
It's on my uninjured side. This is a new knee injury. Out of the two, I
okay.
was 50% always on one. So I must have like stopped screwing up so badly on the other side that I've now started screwing up on this side.
So it's your white belt side or your purple belt side?
Right.
I'm fucking both sides, bitch.
Oh man, we'll get there eventually, Elise. We'll get there.
I only play positions that I can do both sides in.
Okay,
That's smart. That's a strategy.
interesting.
Yeah.
I've been doing pretty good. So I am now 14 weeks pregnant. And the nausea, morning sickness, heartburn is subsiding a little bit. Except for I ate cranberries the other day. And for some reason, that just set it off. So that was a bummer. Yeah. And my little girl's been sick. Letty's been so sick. So she's had to stay home from school, but it's also been really nice because we've been able to like spend time together. And I'm like, we can still go to the library. We can still go on walks, whatever. We're fine. She's not that sick. But I've been loving coaching. Just the other night, I think it was last night, we had kind of a smaller group with some of our like littler kids. And it was just a great class. The whole thing was really smooth. I feel like everyone was focusing and paying attention and laughing and having a good time. So
I love that. I want to say that I love watching you with the kids because I just think you're so good with them. I think you're the best mom. And I know we'll talk more about this, but I just think it's really interesting how the three of us are all in very different stages of our lives. Because we have Jen, who's a grandma, like the hottest grandma in the world. We have Elise, who has a 6-year-old.
Yes.
And then one on the way.
I also am a grandma.
Yeah, shut up.
But I'm Yaya.
Okay.
Okay, we need to talk about this.
I did not know this. So I'm in the presence of two really hot grandmas.
Wait, can we ask your age?
I'm 31.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. So, well, I have no kids. So we are all in very, very different stages, and I'm excited to talk to you guys. I love seeing you with the kids, and I love seeing you as a mom, and I'm really excited to talk to you about your journey with motherhood and with jiu-jitsu and all of that fun. So let's get into it.
Let's.
Yeah, I'm Elise, and I have lived here in Coos County for all of my life. I was born in Bandon, and I went to school here, and some of the things I love to do are jiu-jitsu, and I play music. I've been roller skating for 20 years. I love to garden. I love to play Scrabble. I just beat my fiance pretty hardcore this morning, so
Yes.
kind of riding that high right now.
I love that.
And so I first started getting into jiu-jitsu a little over a year ago. I actually put my daughter into the children's classes first because I was honestly just kind of living vicariously through her. And then I was like, you know what? This is something I really want to do. So I am also a person. I'm going to do this as well. And I had no idea what jiu-jitsu was. I just knew it was martial arts. Like, I didn't know if we were going to be punching and kicking. I didn't know if we were going to be doing like katas. Because I did take like a short course at the college when I was going to SWAC of karate. So I was like, is it like that? But then when I joined, I think the first day I was there, we were working on chokes from the back. And I was just like instantly hooked. I was like, this is awesome. I am here for this. I don't care like what it takes. I'm going to figure it out. So yeah, it's a little bit of my story.
And girl, you have figured it out. You have figured it out because I know you're taking a temporary hiatus here with your pregnancy from like rolling and stuff, but you're so fun to train with. Aww. And it's just been so fun to just see how like you've advanced and developed over the past year. And I'm just so excited. So how long was Aletta training before you were like, hey, I'm going to do the adults class?
About a month.
Okay.
Yes. And I was like, I really need to be doing this as well.
Yeah. Were you like sticking around and watching the classes and you were like, oh, this is cool?
Yeah, I did. I would stick around and watch the classes. I really thought that David and Christian were great with the kids. I appreciated how clean the space was. And I just thought like, oh, this would be great for both of us.
Do you feel like watching her first gave you a little bit of what to expect, or was it still when you got to the mat like, oh, this is different than I thought it was even from a distance?
Yeah, I feel like I still didn't know what to expect. So I was still got onto the mat and just was like kind of open to whatever was going to happen.
And obviously, we know your fiance very well.
Yes.
Did you guys start at the same time training, or were you training first?
I was training first.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. And then Sean, and he supported me. He was really like, oh, yeah, this is great that you're doing this. And I was like, you have to do this too, you know? And he was kind of like on the fence about it. But I was also a little bit like, oh, is he going to steal my thunder if he starts training? But he eventually started with the New Year trial that they had on at the time in January. I think I had started in November. And when he first started, he was kind of like, he would come home and he wasn't sure. He wasn't sure about the whole thing. Yeah, but he's like, I'm going to stick out my 3 months. I'm going to see, you know, I'm going to like see this through. And now he's stoked on it. So
He's gotten so great.
He's crazy.
It's
an
been
animal.
so fun. It's been so fun seeing you guys. And it's funny that you say like he wasn't sure at first because I totally see that because he's been coming to my morning classes pretty much since he started.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've really gotten to see his journey through. And then I've been just like training with you and like seeing you in the regular classes. So I've seen how you've developed and advanced. And I could definitely see the difference. Like when you first started, I could see the fire in your eyes.
Yes.
And when Sean first started, I could tell he was like challenged by it, but like I couldn't tell if he was in it for the long haul at first. But I feel like I knew pretty early on with you that you were like, I'm
She's
into
in.
it.
Yes.
So now I know that Sean's in it for the long haul. But at the beginning there, I wasn't sure. So thank you for confirming.
yes.
So there's a funny story with Sean and Elise rolling. You may not know this. Well, you might. But he was talking to Jesse about how it was getting increasingly difficult to roll with you because he didn't understand how to A, roll with a smaller person, B, roll with a female, but more so how to lift his weight off of you or what he was even doing wrong in that. Were you aware that he was like seeking advice on how to be a better training partner for you?
I was, because it was getting to the point where I didn't even want to roll with him anymore. And I love him so much. You know, we have like all kind of different relationships that we navigate, like our romantic relationship. We play music together. We do jujitsu together.
Right.
So this was one part of our relationship that was becoming really difficult for me because I roll with all the men in our gym.
Right.
And it's fine. You know, like there's a couple times or a couple people where it's like, you know, but for the most part, I have really good experiences. But rolling with him, he would just be so heavy. And all of a sudden, like, your knee is on my wrist. Like, all of you is on my wrist, you know? And for some reason, like, rolling with my partner, like, sometimes when somebody else hurts me for a moment, like, I get through it. But with him, like, I would get so offended.
I totally relate to that.
It's so easy to get irritated by your partner over things you would not get irritated with other people about.
Right.
Because they're safe to do so.
Yeah.
It's okay to get irritated. You know you'll get past it.
Right.
Yeah. So I just love you guys. I think you guys are great together.
Thank you.
I went to your first like big, like real gig, right?
yes,
so that
you
was
did.
a few months ago now.
November.
And it was so great. You guys have to go and follow their page, like check them out because they're incredible together.
What is the page?
Confusion Hill. We're on Facebook.
Follow them on Facebook. They're great. I can't wait to go and see you guys again, whenever that may be. But I was super stoked to be there because at the end of the show was when Sean proposed. And I was so excited to be there for that. So so happy for you guys.
Yeah, it was a really magical moment. I didn't really see it coming. Like, honestly, I kind of knew beforehand because he had this like huge thing in his pocket, you know? And I was like, what is that? And then like prior to arriving at the show, he was like, oh, I forgot something in the house. I got to run back. And he brought like something like a banana out. Like
Oh my God.
like, oh, you
Something
forgot?
he did not forget.
Yeah.
So there was a banana in his pocket.
I kind of had an inkling of what may be coming, but I wasn't going to like commit to that thought, you know, because, oh my gosh, the disappointment,
Right.
if it doesn't happen that way. And then I had totally forgotten by the end of the show.
'Cause you're on that musician high, right? Like during your show.
Yes. Yeah. So then when he did propose, it was like, shock and like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I feel like you were in shock for a second because you were just standing there like, what?
Inaudibly speaking into the mic.
Yeah. It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Aletta loves Sean. So tell us a little bit about Aletta because she's what got you into training.
Yeah.
And she's a little angel.
She is like, oh my gosh, she is my reason, for like healthy lifestyle, for just like trying to get up every day and like do my best and be the best mother that I can be. She's so intelligent. She is funny. She is developing like quite a sense of self and like learning like what boundaries are,
Great.
Yeah. Cause I feel like as women or maybe even people, we don't like, I didn't know what a boundary was till I was like 25 years old.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like trying to like instill those things in her. So she knows that she has like the right to, say what goes on in her life, in her space, in her bubble. And, so I'm excited, to continue into this journey of motherhood.
I think it's really important too that you bring up the point that most women, 3 out of 3 in this room did not have boundaries or understand what an actual boundary was till mid-20s.
Right.
So yes, there's science, but there's also your environment, you given permission to tell people that you cannot do this or say this, or you being able to say the things that you're feeling and not have an adult tell you, no, you need to speak respectful to that adult. Like, yes, respect, but she's learning to physically and verbally set herself up for, in my opinion, success at a much younger age with boundaries than we all had.
100%.
Yeah.
That's why I love to see the little girls in the gym because I just know I'm like, they're going to be just strong and independent and fierce. And I mean, what changes have you seen in Aletta from before she started to now?
I've been able to see her like affirm her boundaries and maintain them with anybody, like myself included. Like if she wants, if she wants to like challenge something I'm saying, like I want to hear her and hear her point of view. And if she's challenging that she has to rinse the dishes, like, yeah, I'm going to hear her. She's still going to rinse the dishes.
Right.
I do have a really quick, funny story. So she turned 6 in June. So it's been quite a while now. But I said, you're 6 now. You are big enough to rinse the dishes. I was like, this is really exciting. And so she pulled up her stool and she just started crying. I don't want to rinse the dishes. Blah, blah, blah. And I just said calmly, I was like, you can rinse the dishes and cry. Like,
that's another great lesson.
How many times have we all done that?
Yeah, it is like another great life lesson though, because like sometimes shit happens and all you want to do is cry, but you have to carry on.
Right,
too.
we can move through these.
So
feelings.
whether
Absolutely.
it's dishes or having to go to work in the morning, like cry on the commute.
You were talking to us a little bit about some training. You were training at an open mat, I think, and you were attempting some sort of pass.
So we have a gentleman in our gym.
A gentleman. He just turned 21. Happy birthday, Zach.
Yay, happy birthday, Zach. But Zach is a great training partner. He is, he's pretty tall and he's really fit. And he's great because he knows how to like lighten up. He knows how to let you work and let you move, but not just like roll over and let you do whatever you want. It's also still challenging. So we were rolling not long before I got pregnant. So I knew a few things. I wasn't like brand new anymore. And all of a sudden, we're both standing and all of a sudden I'm doing a cartwheel. And I don't know how that happened, but we both like stopped after and just looked at each other like, what? And then we kept going. And then after the roll, we were like, man, that was so awesome. We're like, high five. That was so cool. Pull, chest bump. No, I don't think we did that, but
Gosh,
it was pretty great. It was a great moment. I don't know like what all happened, but my hands were on the ground.
She full
and
on cartwheeled.
I full on cartwheeled.
I really wish we rolled back the tape for that one. All right, now that we've gotten some good laughs and stuff, do you think we should like dive into some little bit deeper things?
We sort of asked you a little bit about when you started, but why? You started for Aletta, but obviously as women, you know, I started because my husband asked me to, but that's not why I really started, right?
Right.
So why did you start training jiu-jitsu?
Okay. Yeah, I think like internally, right, we're not always thinking about like, why am I doing this? But when I reflect on myself and my experiences, I think it was me wanting to have more control over what happens to me and what happens to my body and being like involved in those choices, right? I think from a very young age, about the time I turned 10, I started, having some drinks, smoking marijuana, which is obviously fine for adults, but I think it's pretty inappropriate for a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old, to be engaging in those things on a regular basis or at all. And, with that territory, I think comes a lot of vulnerability. So, which we may not realize at the time. So I was just kind of opened up to, the whims of the guys that were around, obviously a lot of older guys, maybe they were older teenagers or whatnot. And I think as I, am going through my adolescence, I'm just kind of doing whatever I can, maybe some mushrooms, this, that, it's all fun. Oh my gosh. Then around the time I turned 19, I got into a car wreck and broke my hip and my pelvis and my tailbone.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty gnarly wreck. So I was in a wheelchair and I had to learn to walk again. And I was prescribed Percocet. And to be fair, like I had tried a couple things like prior to that wreck. But after like using the Percocet and then it running out and me not really being able to do much and just being home alone, I didn't have like a lot of familial support. I kind of, met a neighbor who had this or had that, and I got into some really harder drugs. And with that comes like a whole new level of vulnerability and a whole new level of like darkness, the dark side of people. And I ended up in a really abusive relationship and really physically abusive. And it's stuck with me for a really long time because aside from that, he was a really intelligent, passionate guy, and we had like a really deep connection. But when you're using drugs, like it just comes with the territory. It's just inevitable that those sorts of things are going to happen. So luckily, I found my way out at 21. So it's been 10 years now.
Congratulations.
Wow. Good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's very impressive, Elise.
Yeah, it's really great. I'm glad to still be here and have my sanity because I'm not sure how much longer I would have been able to hold on to that. It was already like pretty much gone. So grateful to come back from that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I wanted to like take my power back, and I soon after stopping using, I met my daughter's father, and that was he gave me a beautiful child.
Yes, he did.
He did. My daughter is, everything to me. And but unfortunately, the relationship, like we're two very different people, and it was not healthy at all. So and that was soon after like using and stuff. So I was still like, who am I?
Right.
What do I want? What is a relationship look like? So that eventually ended. And then I'm finally like, okay, here I am in the world, making my own choices with my daughter. And I had been interested in martial arts for a long time. But when my daughter's father and I were together, we lived in the middle of nowhere. There was no access to anything like that. It was something I had always wanted to do. Yeah. So kind of like becoming a single mom, taking my life back, I was like, I want to do things I want to do. And this is something I really want to do.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So I didn't know any of this about you. And I feel like now hearing all of it, it really explains a lot about like your demeanor and how you are as a person, because you you're 31, so you're young. Like you became a mom at 25. Is that math
24,
good?
25.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's young to me. To me, that's really young, like for motherhood and stuff, because I'm in my 30s and I don't have any kids. But that's just like, you're so mature, I feel like, beyond your years.
Emotionally mature.
Like, very much so. I mean, and just the way that you communicate with people and the way you communicate with your daughter. I mean, I can see how, what you've been through and everything, how that has shaped you now. So, I mean, I think it's really interesting to learn that side of you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of people need to hear things like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely, I try to be an open book. Like if anyone would ask me about those sort of things or it came up, like I am happy to share it, but it's definitely not something I just tend to volunteer.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what's interesting about jiu-jitsu is because we get to know each other what feels like so well on the mats, right? I mean, like we are mounting each other and straddling each other and sweating in each other's mouths. And like, I feel so close to you guys. I feel closer to you guys than I feel as some people I've known, most of my life.
Right.
And I'm just now learning this huge part about you and your past. And it's like, it's crazy because, all of our training partners have this whole life outside of jiu-jitsu that we don't even realize. So you said you always wanted to try like martial arts and stuff, and you working on kind of reclaiming who you are as a person. What do you feel like the biggest like mental and emotional hurdles to actually getting on the mats were for you? Were there at all?
I feel like there was. I was really open to it. I've always been kind of like a touchy person. Like when I see a friend, like I'm like hugging, I'm like, I'm patting somebody on the arm on my way out. Like I'm like, oh, let me touch your hair. Like, as long as the reaction and the vibe is on.
It's your love language.
Yes, it is. So I was okay with like the physical touch for most of it. I think a barrier for me was that I just didn't trust men. I just had no trust in men. To the point where like, before doing jujitsu, like I would really try not to talk to them at all.
Yeah.
My friends as partners, like anything, like I'd be like, I'm just going to keep this conversation as short and clipped as I can because then I can like control the outcome.
And you don't have to be their friend.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to get weird.
Yeah. They can't hurt you that way.
Yeah.
Wow. And now, I mean, you're so comfortable, like with all of the men in our gym. I feel like we are such a minority in this sport. I mean, that's why I'm just so glad that you've stuck with it for so long. Cause I feel like you're now another staple in the gym, right? Aww,
absolutely.
We're holding it down for the women here.
Yeah.
And like, so I love seeing like that comfort develop because I do think we have a wonderful group of male training partners. And we're very, very lucky for that. So, I mean, just seeing you interact and roll with the guys in our gym, I would never think that you ever had any like discomfort or like that standoffishness that you were just talking about with like not being comfortable or not wanting to talk to men, because now it's like, we're all best buddies, right?
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu has given me that big time. That's one of the things I'm so grateful for is that like, I have met so many great men that it can just be totally platonic, comfortable. I feel safe. So that has been a huge shift in my life. And I'm grateful to be able to share that with my daughter as well, because not all guys are out to get you, or anything else. Like there's plenty of great men.
Yeah.
It's that double standard too, where we're raised to think that everybody's safe. It's okay. You're fine. You should, especially being in a situation at a young age, you're wanting to appease everybody because we don't want to rock the boat as women because we've been taught that you're not supposed to. But now you're able to show not only your daughter, but all of the kids, all of the girls, you teach the kids class or you help teach the kids class. You're giving this example to so many young girls that may not have seen that before. You're able to show them that you can trust people. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Trust people within bounds, like, right? There's like levels to these things. We say hi to somebody, we say, how are you? We shake hands. Like, how does each of those things go? And how do we like give trust in appropriate ways, right? Like I might trust somebody on the street to say, hey, could I use your phone real quick? Doesn't mean I'm going to invite them into my house first thing. Like, but yeah, there is trust to give, and there's people worthy of that on both, you know, men and women and otherwise.
Yeah. And I think that like being in the gym, and for me personally, and I'm sure for you guys too, it has definitely helped me kind of get a better read on people and gauge like, okay, is this person like worthy of my time and space and trust? So
will I allow this person to choke me and trust that it will be safe?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's where we're at here.
So what would your advice be for a woman who's coming into the gym who might have, you know, a background of trauma? What would your advice to that girl be?
So I think there's a couple things. One of them would be that it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be anxious. And we can move through those things. We don't have to let like our trauma or, you know, these things that happen to us or that we put ourselves through, they don't have to define us. And we don't have to let them rule our lives and the decisions that we make. So yeah, moving through those feelings and knowing it's okay to feel them. It's not wrong to have those feelings. No one's going to be happy all the time. And also that to ask the other women, like, hey, who would be a good training partner for me? Or who's really new and might not be an appropriate match at this time.
They're still learning how to control themselves.
Right. And that you can say no to anybody, that even for whatever reason you want. Like you can just be like, oh, I'm good, you know.
Yeah. And not feel bad about that.
Not feel bad. Not say sorry.
No, you shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
No apologies.
So obviously we've been talking about how like kind of your past trauma and everything, how jiu-jitsu has helped you work through past that. But like we know that since starting jiu-jitsu, you've gone through stuff in your family life. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that?
So in December of last year, after Christmas, before New Year, my mother, who I've been really close to since being an adult, she suffered a few strokes, and the result of that was some catastrophic brain injuries. So she's no longer able to speak. She can't walk. And she's actually here in Coos Bay at Life Care Center. So that's definitely been something that has been really challenging.
Yeah, because I know that there was a lot of time when you were kind of traveling back and forth to go and see your mom when she was still in the hospital. But you would still come into the gym as often as you could, like no matter where you were, like emotionally or mentally. I feel like you showed up to the gym. Like, how did that help you work through such a difficult time?
Yeah. So I feel like jiu-jitsu came into my life when I really needed it. Right before that happened is when I started training. So what I was able to do was use that as an outlet for all that grief and confusion that I was feeling surrounding that situation. So being able to come into the gym and train was really good for me to have a place where I could just do jiu-jitsu. Like that's all I was doing. When I'm on the mat, I'm absorbed in jiu-jitsu and trying to learn and master these movements or gain an understanding of them at all the time. Because with what was going on with my mom, it was just so consuming. I could barely sleep. So just having that hour to do something totally different was a lifesaver.
And I know that there were like so many times when you'd come into the gym and I would just want to be like, how are you? How's your mom? But I know like personally having used the gym as an outlet and an escape during times of grief, I didn't want to bring that into like your safe space.
So it was nice that you guys weren't asking all the time, but it also meant a lot that you would ask when you did, because a lot of people really did not ask about my mom. And still, you know, a lot of times people don't ask because it is a really uncomfortable conversation and there's not a lot of good things to say about it. So it's nice to like have a break from it, but it's also really nice when people do ask.
So since we've kind of covered all of the, you know, that like serious stuff, how do you feel about doing some rapid fire questions?
I'm up for it. Let's do it.
Okay, let's get into it. Remember, rapid fire. So you can't talk, you can't think about it too long.
Okay.
She's like, I know the rules.
Here we go.
All right. Ghee or no ghee?
No ghee.
Salty or sweet?
Sweet.
Favorite submission?
Oh, triangle.
Dream travel destination?
Ooh, Machu Picchu.
Ooh.
Elise, we could be the same person so far.
Best jiu-jitsu moment so far?
Coaching.
Love that. Worst injury you've ever had?
Jiu-jitsu injury. Oh, I just really haven't had any, knock on wood.
Reading books or listening to audiobooks?
Ooh, reading books.
Okay. Favorite podcast besides ours?
Oh, I don't really listen to podcasts.
Okay, so then it's ours. Perfect.
Yes, it's yours.
Perfect. Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
What would your walkout song be for your first ever competition?
Maybe Lose Yourself.
Ooh, love. Dogs or cats?
Both.
All right. Go-to comfort food.
Spaghetti.
If you weren't doing jiu-jitsu, what sport would you be doing?
I mean, I'm already roller skating. I guess I'll go with that.
Okay,
I
perfect.
love it.
Biggest pet peeve?
Okay, so my biggest pet peeve will pertain to the mat, is when people are talking during instruction. Even when I'm like coaching the kids' classes and the teenagers come in or the fundamentals come in, or sometimes it's parents.
I hate
it's like,
it.
blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude,
It's so rude.
it's so rude. Biggest pet peeve.
God, I could go off.
Yeah, I can I can agree with that one. All right, last one. If your best friends had 3 words to describe you, what would those 3 words be?
Energetic, creative, sassy.
Yes.
Perfect. I can see all of those adjectives
I
describing you.
Yeah.
After this podcast, I think the 3 words that I would use is strong, resilient, and badass.
Oh my God, I had 2 of the same. Instead of strong, I was just thinking like, I don't know. I think Elise is like just really genuine.
Oh, that's a great one.
guys.
You are very genuine. You're a very special person.
So we always like to talk about the chill zone, and our chill zone is what we do to like chill out off the mats. Is there something that you do for like your mental and physical recovery that's like just for you?
Yeah, I'm really into reading. So I read a lot. I just, I blew through a novel in 24 hours the other day.
Nice.
I probably read like 6 books in the last month and a half. So
What are you reading?
right now, I cannot pronounce the name of this book.
Perfect.
But it is an African trilogy, and it's somewhat like historical fiction. It talks about when like the Europeans first arrived, although I haven't gotten to that part yet. So I'm just learning about the culture.
Very cool.
That's cool. Is there anything else that you do besides reading to chill out?
Yeah, I love to garden. So I'm really into growing like vegetables and sometimes flowers. So I definitely get really into that. Also like aspiring to do like permaculture. And I used to have chickens. That's something I really want to have again. Maybe a goat.
Well, I think lately for me, for chilling out, just kind of the usual. I like to have my alone time at night after BJ goes to bed to hang out with the dog and listen to my book because it's like 60 hours. So I've really been powering through that.
Yeah.
But no, I just really try to find time each day to go outside. I like to sit in the sun. So even if it's like 50 degrees and sunny, I want to be outside. And then I really enjoy just kind of, I'm working on finding peace and just being still. I lasted like 4 minutes yesterday, so that was pretty good. And
Sir.
any final words of encouragement for especially women or teen women wanting to start jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I would just reiterate that it's okay to move through fear or anxiety and just give it a try. Don't give up, take the 3 months and really just commit to it and see where it goes.
What words would you have for a parent who want to get their kids into jiu-jitsu? Or maybe they don't want to, but tell them why they should.
I just really value our space. I value how clean it is. Our instructors are top notch. And, your child will be learning boundaries. They'll be learning like how to protect themselves, especially for girls. It's like, we have fight, flight, but we also have freeze.
Yeah.
And doing jujitsu just allows you to know what it's like when somebody grabs a hold of you and be able to react how you want to react.
Yeah.
For girls and boys, right? That's for anybody. So I think like giving your child the gift of being able to defend themselves and have boundaries is just invaluable.
I just want to give a shout out to you as the kids assistant coach. Mallory and I have talked about this before. When the boys coach, it's great. Everything's fine. But when you came in, it brought a whole other level of just like, you brought the mom into the room.
Yes.
You brought the come sit by me to the kids that can't sit still. You brought the let's take a walk to the kids that can't calm down. And I think that was something that we really, really needed to have in order to grow our kids' program. So I wanted to thank you for that. And also just like let you know that we see the changes that have been made because of you coming in and just really giving your all. So
yeah,
thank you.
I love being there. I'm meant to be there. So
Yes.
I'm really grateful that that was offered to me and I was able to take that opportunity. Like we play ultimate tag and there's just so much to learn. Like, like sometimes one of our smaller kids, they'll run away, they're like, oh, I'm just going to run from David when he chases me. I'm like, no, you need to like face him, stand off.
Yes.
Like, you can't like run from your problems in life. Never give him your back. Like
It's so fun. Elise goes so hardcore with ultimate tag. She's like, no truces. I'm not on your side. Fend for yourself. Make a decision. And I'm so here for it.
I know. And then when I get tagged, I'm like yelling out, avenge me.
The kids are so excited when you come in.
Yeah.
They like see her coming and they're like, Elise is here. It's time. Like they get so pumped.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's super cool.
This has been so nice.
Yes, it
so
has.
nice. So in conclusion, Elise is not only an amazing mom, but an amazing friend and fiance and training partner and coach and all of the things. You're incredible.
She's just a bad bitch all around.
She is a bad bitch. And we are so proud to have you and so proud to know you. And thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thank you, Elise.
Yes. Well, thank you for being in my tribe. You are also two freaking amazing women that I have the joy and pleasure of knowing and getting to know more and more. So
Thank you guys.
Next time.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Check us out on Instagram at Chokeholds and Chill Pod or shoot us a message at chokeholdsandchillpod@gmail.com.